Join me as I take on the challenge of overcoming gelotophobia, the fear of being laughed at, and see if I can face my fears head-on. Gelotophobia, or the fear of being laughed at, is a phobia that affects millions of people worldwide. It's a constant anxiety of being ridiculed, mocked, or embarrassed in front of others, and it can be debilitating to those who suffer from it. People with gelotophobia often tend to avoid social situations, anxious that they might say or do something that would provoke laughter or ridicule. They might miss out on important life experiences, like speaking up in class or sharing their ideas at work, simply because they're too afraid of being laughed at. Their daily lives become a constant struggle to avoid feelings of humiliation and embarrassment. They might even develop social anxiety, depression, or low self-esteem as a result of their phobia. Gelotophobia can also affect relationships, making it difficult for people to form close bonds with others. They might come across as shy, distant, or introverted, even if they're not. It's like they're putting up a wall to protect themselves from the possibility of being laughed at. But in doing so, they're also keeping themselves from forming meaningful connections with others. In extreme cases, gelotophobia can even lead to social isolation, which can have severe mental and physical health consequences. The fear of being laughed at can be so overwhelming that it holds people back from pursuing their passions and dreams. They might let fear dictate their choices, opting for the safe and familiar instead of taking risks and trying new things. It's like they're stuck in a cycle of fear and anxiety, and they don't know how to break free. One of the main causes of gelotophobia is past experiences of being ridiculed or humiliated, especially during childhood or adolescence. These experiences can leave deep emotional scars, making it difficult for people to shake off the feeling of being laughed at or ridiculed. Psychological factors, like low self-esteem, negative self-talk, or a perfectionistic mindset, can also contribute to the development of gelotophobia. Traumatic events, like bullying or public embarrassment, can also trigger gelotophobia. These experiences can be so traumatic that they create a lasting impression, making it difficult for people to overcome their fear of being laughed at. In some cases, gelotophobia can even be a coping mechanism, a way to avoid feelings of vulnerability or shame. Gelotophobia can also be a learned behavior, passed down from family members or friends who have a similar phobia. People might internalize their loved ones' fears and anxieties, adopting them as their own. This can make it even harder to overcome gelotophobia, as people might not even realize that they're carrying around someone else's fears. One powerful story that comes to mind is that of a friend who suffered from gelotophobia for years. She was so afraid of being laughed at that she wouldn't even share her creative writing with others. But one day, she decided to face her fears head-on and share her work with a writing group. It was terrifying at first, but as she received constructive feedback and support from her peers, she realized that her fear was holding her back. She started to write more, sharing her work with others, and eventually even self-publishing a book. It was a turning point for her, and she finally felt like she could breathe again. Overcoming gelotophobia takes courage and self-awareness. It's about recognizing our fears and anxieties, and then slowly working to dismantle them. It's about embracing our imperfections, acknowledging that we're all human, and that we all make mistakes. It's about learning to laugh at ourselves, to find the humor in life's little mishaps, and to develop a sense of self-compassion. In conclusion, gelotophobia is a serious issue that can have far-reaching consequences on our mental health and well-being. By understanding its causes and effects, we can start to work towards overcoming our fears and anxieties. Remember, you're not alone, and facing your fears head-on is the first step towards a more authentic, more fulfilling life. Thanks for watching, and if you've struggled with gelotophobia or any other phobia, I invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more about mental health and overcoming fears, be sure to check out my next video on building self-confidence.